Hello, high school health. So our last lesson was all about making good decisions. We talked about the effects the decisions we make can have on our ability to reach our goals. We also discussed the influences such as friends, family, media, peer pressure, popularity, fitting in, and what those influences can have on the decisions we make. So today we are going to talk about how our emotions can influence both the decisions we make and our behavior. Also, we are going to learn ways to communicate effectively. So high school SCASA lesson number 3. So what does it mean to be emotionally self-aware? So emotional self-awareness is our ability in any moment to recognize our feelings and motivations. Being self-aware helps us to step back, evaluate what we are feeling, and then respond appropriately. So now who can tell me what social awareness is? So social awareness is the ability to recognize how others are feeling and the motivations behind their behaviors. When we apply the concepts of self-awareness to the behaviors of others, we are being socially aware. Okay, what role do you think emotions should play in our decision making? So our emotions work as a feedback system to help us evaluate ourselves and our experiences and our relationships. However, for many of us, identifying exactly what we feel can be tough. So why do you think that is? Well, it can be tough to identify what we are feeling because emotions can be overwhelming. People may judge you, and too many emotions at once can be confusing. So some emotions can be uncomfortable, and we may suppress to ignore them rather than feel them. So what can happen if we ignore our emotions? So ignored or suppressed emotions negatively affect our decision making and our behavior. So some emotions can be easy to manage while others are more difficult. So emotions like anger, frustration, envy, joy, loneliness, embarrassment, sadness, guilt, worry, fear, and love. Which of these emotions are easier for you to manage? And which emotions are more difficult for you to manage? And just think about why those are easier or some are harder to manage. So the first step in processing your emotions is to understand their purpose so that you can make use of the information and take a healthy action. So let's look at fear, the emotion of fear. So fear can be unpleasant, right? It can be unpleasant to be afraid, but fear alerts us to danger and pushes us to think more carefully about a situation. Fear can push us to build up courage to overcome a challenge. Okay, think of a time then when you might have been fearful. Okay, now what about envy? Okay, so a little bit of envy can inspire us to make a positive change or to develop a quality or skill we admire in someone else. Unmanaged envy, however, can be destructive, okay, creating feelings of shame and frustration that can push us to complain or seek revenge. Okay, so think of a time when you might have been envious, and what did that lead to? How did you manage that emotion? Okay, how about sadness? Sadness can make us sensitive to the idea of loss, so we appreciate the things or relationships we have, right? Okay, so how about embarrassment? So cringeworthy moments can keep us humble, right? When you own these embarrassing times and share them with others, you express complete acceptance of your flaws and truly love yourself. Because of your willingness to share, other people might be inspired to accept their own mistakes as well. I'm sure we've all experienced a time of embarrassment. And lastly, what about anger? Okay, so with the right amounts of anger, we can prepare to address a conflict or find a solution to a problem. If you find yourself looking to punish someone, however, then you know you need to manage your anger before making any decision. The more you practice identifying your own emotions, the more you will be able to recognize the feelings of others. So why would we want to recognize the emotions of others? Well, to know when they are going through something so that you can adjust your behavior accordingly. So when you recognize the emotions of others, you are more likely to respond in the right way. Okay, so if you see someone is sad, then you will know to have a more loving approach when you talk to that person. So sometimes people talk about what they're feeling, and at other times they keep it to themselves. Regardless of how much they share, you can identify what that person might be feeling by reading their facial expressions and their body language. So facial expressions and body language convey emotions even when words don't. When you can interpret someone's emotions by reading their facial expressions, you can be ready to respond appropriately. So I'm going to read you a scenario, and I want you to consider how they might feel and how you should respond. Okay, so the scenario says, for most of your teenage years, your weekend curfew has been 10 p.m., but now your friends can stay out till 11 o'clock p.m. You're getting frustrated with your parents and think, I get straight A's and I do my chores without them having to ask. Don't they realize how lucky they are? The weekend is quickly approaching, so you decide to go downstairs and ask your mom for an extended curfew. When you get to the kitchen, your mom's face is red and she looks very angry. So how do you think your mother is feeling right now? She's feeling angry, right? She's mad. So is this the right time to plead your case for a later curfew? Probably not. Now that you know your mom is angry, how can you best respond to her? Okay, instead of asking her for an extended curfew, you can ask her what is wrong and ask if there's anything you could do to help her. Maybe give her a hug or listen to her. Right. So why is this response the right one? Well, your mom's going to know that you care, right? And it will strengthen your relationship, okay? And it will help her to feel better. So you can go ahead at another time and ask about the curfew, but by considering her feelings, you're doing the right thing at that moment. If you went ahead with your original plan and asked for the extended curfew, what might have happened? Well, your mom would probably think you were pretty rude, not considering her feelings, and she might feel worse. When we are reminded of the times we experience similar feelings or situations that someone is going through, we can be inspired to offer help to that person. Empathy helps you be a better friend. When we develop our ability to see through another person's eyes, we can respond appropriately and on a deeper level. Using empathy to guide your interactions with people will help you build stronger relationships. So now we're going to get into the second part of the lesson where we're going to talk about effective communication. Okay, so instinctively we communicate our emotions through our facial expressions, body language, and tone of voice. Have you ever asked someone, how are you? And although they say fine, their body language and tone of voice says something else. Yeah, that's happened to me before. In fact, only 35% of communication is verbal, so through the words that we say or that we write down. So the rest, 65%, is nonverbal. Okay, so that's using our facial expressions, our tone of voice, our movement, our appearance, our eye contact, our gestures, and our posture. So when our verbal and nonverbal cues are conflicting, so when they don't match, it delivers a mixed message. Okay, we might think the words we use are clear and correct, but the listener will likely process what we say or how we say it quite differently. So let's consider this example. Imagine you confided in a friend that you have a crush on someone at school. The next day you find out the object of your affection has learned your secret. When you confront your friend about the betrayal, your friend says to you, I didn't tell your crush you are in love. Okay, so down below on the slide here, the same statement, I'm going to read you the same statement several times, but each time with an emphasis on a different word. So I have the words underlined that I'm going to emphasize. What I want you to do is listen to the statement and then I want you to think of what is the implied meaning of each statement. Okay, so the first one says the underlined word is I. So I'm going to emphasize I. So I didn't tell your crush you were in love. So what is that implying? Well, that someone else told your crush, right? She's saying, I didn't tell it. Okay, so number 2, the word didn't is implied. So I didn't tell your crush you were in love. So what are you implying? That you really didn't tell, right? You were not the one that told. Okay, how about the third one? Tell is the word that's emphasized. I didn't tell your crush you were in love. Okay, what is emphasized? You're emphasizing that you implied it without saying anything. Okay, so you're implying it without saying anything. Number 4, the word crush is emphasized. I didn't tell your crush that you are in love. So you're emphasizing or implying that you told someone other than your crush, right? Okay, how about the next one? The word emphasized is you. I didn't tell your crush you are in love. So what are you emphasizing? That you told your crush someone is in love, not that it was you. You told them someone was in love with them. Okay, and the last one, they're emphasizing the word love. I didn't tell your crush that you were in love, right? So what are you implying? That you may not have used the word love, but you might have said like. Okay, so did you expect the same statement to communicate 6 different meanings? Most likely not, right? So nonverbal cues like tone of voice and intonation communicate the thought, the mood, and attitude behind the words we say. These nonverbal cues, along with body language, communicate the true message. We say a lot about what we think and how we feel and the way we carry ourselves. So how might body language affect a first impression? Okay. So body language can communicate enthusiasm or lack of interest, confidence or respect. So look at the 2 pictures here, the same person. Let's take a look at the first one on the left. Say that this person is applying for a job. Okay, what impression do you think you get with the first person, or the person on the left, or the picture of the person on the left? Well, his shoulders are slumped. He kind of has like a face that doesn't show confidence, right? So it kind of looks like he might not be really interested in the job, maybe doesn't care about the job, maybe doesn't really want it, he doesn't look enthusiastic. So what kind of an impression do you get from this person, and what kind of employee do you think he would make? Well, he might be lazy, might not show up every day, maybe disrespectful, maybe not be a positive person or a confident person. Okay, how about the person on the right, or the picture on the right? What message do you think that this person or this picture of him is showing? Well, he looks confident, he looks positive, he looks excited for the job opportunity, he looks interested. Okay, so what kind of impression do you get from this picture of this person? What kind of employee do you think that he would make? So probably an effective employee. Looks like he would be a confident person and a really good employee. So these 2 pictures communicate something about themselves without saying a word. So if you were to hire one of these, the picture of one of these people, most likely you're going to pick the one on the right. Okay, that person is showing confidence and seems interested in the job. The gestures we make, the way we sit, and how we stand convey a lot about our attitude and integrity. Think about how your body language affects how people understand and perceive you. How you approach communication will determine the outcome of the encounter. Okay, so there are three types of communication. First, there's passive, then assertive, and also aggressive. Okay, so a passive communicator often uses a soft and shaky tone of voice, makes little eye contact, can have a slumped body posture. Okay, and how do you think people would respond to a passive communicator? Well, people usually don't listen to a passive communicator. They may not take them seriously. They may ignore the passive person. So a listener might not take this person seriously because the speaker appears to be unsure or lacking confidence. How about the aggressive? Let's go to the right here. Aggressive communication or aggressive communicators often use accusations or insults to get what they want. Aggressive communicators tend to use a loud, demanding voice and often point their fingers or cross their arms. How do you think people will respond to an aggressive communicator? Well, they probably leave or avoid the person. Okay, they think that person's mean and rude, and they feel threatened by the person. Okay, so that leads us to the one in the middle, the last type of communication style, which is the assertive communicator. Okay, so the assertive communicator states their needs and feelings with a calm, firm voice, making direct eye contact and standing with confidence. The assertive communicator asks for what they want or advocates for what they need without insulting or hurting another person. So how do you think people respond to assertive communicators? Well, they usually listen to what the person says, right? They respect the person and they believe the person. So out of these three styles, which do you think is the most effective and why? Okay, so assertive communication is the most effective. So good job if that's what you said. So because these communicators speak with assurance, assertive communicators say what they want or need without disrespecting, like we said before. So people take notice of assertive communicators. And assertive communicators are much more likely to get the results they want. Another element of effective communication is listening. Listening is more than just hearing words. Active listeners demonstrate to the speaker they have been heard and understood. Is it always easy to listen? No, sometimes. For some of you, it might be easier than others, but not always. Active listening doesn't always come naturally, but it is a skill we can practice and improve. I have two video links which I cannot show on this PowerPoint, but if you want to copy the link and at another time watch the videos, the youth TEDx is a teenager talking about active listening and good communication. The next one is from the sitcom Everyone Loves Raymond. It's just a funny clip. So effective communication takes effort and hard work on both parts, both the part of the speaker and the listener. So practicing effective communication skills will help us to build and maintain healthy relationships. So I hope that this week you'll think about that and take that into practice. Okay, so that concludes lesson 3. Next week is already our lesson number 4, and we are going to be talking about using the skills that we just learned with effective communication as we build and maintain healthy relationships. I hope that everyone has a great week, and please email me if you would like. I'd love to hear from you. Have a great week.